Hello and welcome back everyone, and to AEW Dynasty 2026 out of 10. As of Sunday morning, 12 matches have been booked for the pay-per-view, lots of title matches on the line, people are looking to settle grudges, and a few stars looking to gain some momentum. We have world titles on the line, MJF v Omega, Moxley v Ospreay, so a lot going on. But we're going to kick things off with the pre-show with Alex Windsor taking on the Death Riders Marina Shafir. When the bell rang, they ran at each other and started throwing punches. The fight was pretty even until Shafir went after Windsor's arm to start wearing her down for a submission. They took the fight out of the ring where Shafir threw her into barricade and continued to inflict the damage. In recent months, Shafir Greer is an in-ring performer, has been so much fun to watch. She's no longer trying to be a traditional pro wrestler, who happens to use MMA stuff. She feels more like a well-rounded worker who knows her strengths and leans into the match. Had a small bumps, but the vast majority of what they did looked good. Windsor preferred to get the win. I think probably the right result. 6 out of 10 from me. Moving on into Camille, who made a surprising return, attacking Robin Nightingale, preventing her from continuing her open challenges for the TBS title. Camille then took on a local talent named Big Ann. This was a squashy as a squash match can come. Camille got the ring under on it, but Willow came marching to the ring looking for payback. Camille took advantage of Willow, still being injured from the previous attack, and took her out with a vicious series of strikes. It looks like we all know who the TBS title next challenge is going to be, and I think that could be a really exciting feud. The next match was a national championship with Jack Perry defending against Mark Davis. Dunkzilla focused angry as he began by throwing Perry across the ring. Jungle Jack fell taken down with a shoulder block, so he rethought his approach and used his speed to hit some strikes. Classic David vs Goliath, but Perry got enough in to not feel like a complete underdog. Davis definitely did have the upper hand more often, but it wasn't a one-sided fight. Jungle Jack was able to get one with a Hurricane Runner into a pinning combination that caught Davis off guard. No surprise there. And it's got to say, this was a solid, pretty entertaining match from top to bottom. And the final match on the pre-show was Hine and Mindwell getting their biggest opportunity since joining AEW, taking on Megan Bain and Lena Cross. Lena tried to take control immediately, but Maya put up another fight that Cross had to tag out almost immediately. Hine came in and nailed a dropkick challenge to continue the challenge of momentum. The match got more competitive from the point as both teams looked like being able to turn matches in their control. Unlike a lot of tag matches, it really felt like they were ignoring the rules and keeping non-legal competitive for too long. Hine and Maya put up a fantastic fight, but the champs were too much to overcome, and Kane, Cross and Bain got enough to close the pre-show. I'm going to get 6 out of 10. Moving on into the main show, and it was Phil and Ryan who went to battle in the opening match. The Young Bucks taking on the odd couple pairing of Takeshita and Okada. The IWGP TV champion began against Nick. Takeshita easily overpowered him and hit a few double moves before making a tag to Okada for a double team. They shook hands and seemed to be willing to work together for the sake of the match. The multi-team AEW tag champs were able to gain the high ground with some of their signature double team offense. One thing's been settled. There was a much more back and forth contest with Callis interfering. The skills of all 4 of these men have been lauded for years, so nobody will be shocked to hear they put on a great match. In some ways it was more measured and calculated than many of the Bucks matches. Not only was the action good, but several moments were very funny. The crowd was clearly having a blast. When Okada and Takeshita began fighting, the arena went nuts, and the Young Bucks scored the win after Takeshita chose not to save Okada for their finishes, getting the main card off to a strong start. I think we all predicted it would happen, and in the end it did. I think it was a well-worked angle, and I'm going 8 out of 10. Almost a year after his last match, Jericho stepped back in the ring to take on Ricochet, who had Khan and Leona in his corner. The fans started chanting "Build up Ricochet" as they started. He complained to Aubrey about Jericho slapping his head, but she didn't care. After Jericho had some fun, Ricochet took control, using his crony swing sphere, where he distracted Aubrey to get an unfair advantage, but the former world champion found his way to battle back. The match wasn't perfect, but nobody expected it to seal the show. Jericho has been off the road for a year, so he might need a little time to get back into the swing of it. They did a good job on staying the ground, but a couple of bad moments stood out. Compared to all the matches that came before, it felt like this slowed it down a bit, but it wasn't bad. The man used to be known as the Lion Tree, managed to kick out with shooting star push, but Ricochet was still able to get the win with Jericho's own line. So I thought Jericho might win his return match, but I think a good win for Ricochet, and overall I'm a 5 out of 10. In order to earn a world title opportunity, next up we saw Darby Allin having to go through Andrade thanks to a deal between MJF and Don Callis. Aewdynasty was the only in the situation due to financial deal, but he looked laser focused on Allin as the match got underway. Ever since he returned to AEW, Andrade has been doing some of his best work in years, and that's continued in his bout. He used his size advantage and technical ability to dominate the ring Rick Ticker for a long time. Once Allin started to build up a head of steam, he started throwing caution to the win. He hit some highly dangerous moves that probably did just as much damage to him as they did to his opponent. Both men took some big bumps, but the crowd Pop loud as far, taking off his pants through all his trunks and boots. These two took each other to their limits, but Allin was able to win, wrapping up Andrade's legs in a pinning combination for the win. It's one of the matches that either man's had in AEW, and they didn't need a single drop of blood to make it feel violent or dangerous. So yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. This was really good stuff, and I think Darby Allin could really well be a serious challenger for MJF's title. We then got the men's tag team titles on the line with Cage and Cope taking on FTR. We were offered Cope in his hand to start the match, but Cope smacked it away after starting punching him. This brought in Cage and Harwood to trade shots too. When you put 4 veterans in the ring like this, it's easy for them to put on a decent match, but they worked hard to make sure they were not overlooked and put on a good match that was worthy of the rest of the card. The only real complaint is they relied too much on using all 4 guys at once. The ref made no effort to control the chaos, and while it was fun, it also felt like they should have just booked a special stipulation where they wanted to have this kind of fight. Copeland was busted open with the title belt and immediately started bleeding profusely. Cage was taken out by being thrown into the timekeeper's area, leaving Cope in a 2-on-1 situation. The challenge was put in a good fight, but FTR retained. Like I say, a really fun match. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. To be honest, I was slightly surprised there wasn't a title change here, but hopefully we get another match down the line. As we then move on to the TNT Championship gauntlet, Ciampa and Roosh were the 2 competitors already confirmed for the match after Kyle Fletcher was forced to vacate the title. So here's the order of entry. We then got Bandido, Mike Bailey, El Clon, Pac, Daniel Garcia, Anthony Bowens, Kevin Knight, and finally Wheeler Yuta. But Ciampa and Roosh are both known as tough competitors, so they wasted no time teeing off on each other's strikes. Each new competitor had a sequence of offense before settling into the match. The match had a nice variety of wrestlers who have each brought something different to the table. The Death Riders had multiple men in the match, so they had a slight advantage over everyone else. Matches like this are pure mayhem by design, so it's a little harder to judge than the usual singles bout, but the outcome was the biggest highlight. Knight claimed the victory to earn his first singles title in AEW. It was a pleasant surprise, but also felt like a right call. I'm going to 6 out of 10. Move on into a great quick bite backstage with Windsor. Jamie Hayter made her way to the ring to challenge Thekla for the world title. The challenger nailed a running boot to the face right out the gate to get the match started. Thekla quickly recovered and knocked her in a submission until she got a leg on the rope to force a break. Both of these women are known for their toughness. Hayter hits hard, is not just a catchphrase, but Thekla is not about to be outdone. Both competitors are working, doing as much as they can to make each other suffer. After previous 2 bouts of so raucous, it was nice to bring it back to a 1-on-1 singles match. Not only did it give fans a chance to cool down a bit, but it's still an enjoyable action. Hayter, is an outstanding wrestler, and Thekla was quickly developing the same reputation. She was able to retain her title using the ropes for leverage during a pinning combination. Windsor ran to the ring and tried to tell the ref that Thekla cheated to win. The ref said his decision was final, so Thekla celebrated with Julia Hart and Sky Blue in the aisle. But we can clearly see this feud isn't over, and I'm really looking forward to another match. Moving on then to Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay. Obviously, Ospreay's first match back after 6 months on the shelf, and he's looking to get revenge while challenging for the Continental title. The rules of the bout made it so neither man could have any allies at ringside, so Billy Goat didn't have to worry about any Death Riders interference. As soon as the ref starts the match, Ospreay sprinted at Mox and hit a hidden blade. He didn't even try to make cover and knew he had plenty of time to do what he wanted. He lined up and hit a second one, sending Mox out the ring. There was a long stretch where everything the champion tried to do, Ospreay had a counter ready for him. This match is about the story. Mox and Ospreay were still treating on a good match, but they focused on more emotion, facial expressions, and telling a tale rather than just throwing as many big spots as they could. The crowd chanted "This is awesome" as they built towards big finale. Ospreay went for a title drive, but his injured neck and arms prevented him from hitting it. Mox turned the table and delivered a pile drive on top of the steel set. The challenger gave it his all, but Mox was simply too much for him to take on this thing after retaining his title with his finisher. And like I'm going to say, I'm going to get 7 out of 10. I think a good first match between these two. Like the last match, I think there's more to come from these two, definitely. Ospreay, it's his first match back and he looked great still. This is really good stuff. Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strongman had a special entrance of the sitcom set on the stage. Their third mystery partner was revealed to be returning Kyle O'Reilly as they challenged the Dogs for the Trios titles. Finley and KLR started for their team. The crowd was singing to O'Reilly as he wrestled his opponent down and put him in a headlock. Just days after we saw Mystico and Jet Speed drop the title to the Dogs, we got another title change with the conglomeration becoming the champions. This was a high energy match from Dunsbar. The crowd was super excited and surprised to see a title change so soon, but it felt like a good call. Having Kyle O'Reilly back and seeing then go on his first match, which was fantastic as well. So that's great to see. But it was a bit of a shame for the Dogs to drop the title so soon. As we then moved on to the main event of the evening between MJF and Kenny Omega, AEW's been hyping this bout, so there's a lot of pressure on them to outdo their previous performance in 2023. They took some time before locking up. Neither men seemed to be in a rush, so they made a clean break and circled each other a bit before locking up again. MJF took some time to procrastinate at ringside and taunt the crowd. Kenny offered him a handshake, but MJF pie-faced him and raked his eyes. The cleaner responded with a Hurricane Rana that sent the champ out of the ring. The first half of this bout felt intentionally slow. They were taking the time to say everything, and they were clearly working up to increase the pace over the time. The ref was knocked out when MJF pulled him into Omega's path, allowing him to hit the low blow and retrieve his diamond ring from Bryce Remsburg. Omega hit a one-wing angel, but the ref showed up too late for him to get in. MJF was able to steal the win, and he hit his trademark heat seeker off. He put Omega through the table with a tombstone pile driver. A dirty one, but that's always how he does it. The match was a little slow in some places, but it's still a great encounter between both men. I think pretty predictable in the way it ended up. So yeah, overall I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Overall, AEW Dynasty gets an 8 out of 10 from me. It felt like it might be a bit misbound on paper. Once again, AEW knocked out on the park. There wasn't a single match on the card that didn't provide entertainment value, and almost every single one had at least one memorable moment. The Bucks, Okada and Takeshita put on one of the best performances in recent memory, and Ali and Aewdynasty tore houses down with a hard-hitting match. KOR returning to lead the conglomeration was a feel-good championship moment, as was Kevin Knight winning the TNT title, and I ended with MJF officially sitting on a throne wearing a crown with Devon Horns. It's a hell of a visual to cap off another terrific AEW pay-per-view. For this video, thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.